Some of you may have heard about the recent events in Colorado. I also realized that some of your local news stations did not report this news to their audience for specific reasons. In this video, I will discuss these reasons, along with some important details that you might have missed. A few days ago, a viral video was making its rounds across the internet, showcasing a gang of illegal immigrants strapped with high-powered weapons going from door to door inside of an apartment complex located in Aurora, Colorado. You would think that these types of serious situations will be handled immediately by local law enforcement in that state. However, things are not always what they seem to be, according to how this particular story goes.
I've seen at several of these complexes now, they've spray painted Venezuela all over the buildings. There are broken windows, there's trash everywhere. It's really a grim scene at these apartment complexes. And, you know, what you see at any given time is men, and I've really only seen men, walking around with guns. They are actively patrolling these properties. They have completely taken them over. They have beaten up any staff that was on site of these complexes. They have beaten them up, so there is no staff. It is absolutely these gang members controlling these apartment complexes.
These illegal immigrants are allegedly from Venezuela, and they have taken over multiple apartment buildings of rent-paying residents who are left in danger of losing their belongings, or even worse, possibly losing their lives, because oddly enough, they received little to no help from their local law enforcement, according to multiple reports. This reminds me of a statement that Donald Trump made numerous times when he was on his way out as president and was campaigning to become president again in 2020.
You have warned several times that if Joe Biden is elected president, that there will be an invasion in suburban neighborhoods. It's a sentiment that you expressed in a tweet again this morning. What exactly do you mean by invasion?
What I mean is people are going to become, they're going to be opening up areas of your neighborhood, which they're doing, and now they wanted to expand it, and they will expand it. If for any reason they're going to, in my opinion, destroy suburbia. And just so you understand, 30% plus of the people living in suburbia are minorities. African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, they're minorities, 30%. The number's even higher. They say 35, but I like to cut it a little bit lower. You know why? That way I can never get myself in too much trouble with the fake news.
And no matter what people think of this guy, he was right, because as soon as Biden became president, the borders were open and tons of issues with illegal immigrants occurred along the border states. But wait a minute, isn't Colorado a police state?
Forgive me, I'm pulling in right now. I'm just so upset about this whole thing right now. So, yes, it's true. If you've been seeing about the stuff in Aurora, Colorado, about the Venezuelan gangs taking over two apartment complexes, yes, it's very true. I happened to drive to Aurora today for business. Not even, what time is it? Yeah, not even 3 hours ago I was in Aurora. All right, and I was right in there where that shit happening. Let me tell you, man, holy. Let me tell you right now that this is no fucking joke. All right, these motherfuckers is really out here with AKs guarding an apartment complex that does not belong to them. Okay? This is the Venezuelan gangs that came up here. I can't remember what the their name is, but yeah, that's real. Like, the getting dire. All right? I'm out here right now. Aurora, Colorado, or not Aurora, Colorado. I'm in Lakewood, Colorado, bro. All right, I'm on the opposite side of the metro area, man. But I go all the way over there for my videography. I go over there for recording shit. I go over there for all types of shit. All I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm just heated about this. It's just really bad that, like, people really don't think this is happening, bro. This Venezuelan prison gang took over 2 apartment complexes in my state, man. And, like, yes, it's real. It's getting real. That's why I stay with what I got. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have something like that and this happening, you got to beware. That's all I'm saying. People see what you have. People see what you have when you don't look, man, and be prepared for that to get taken. I mean, that might be fear-mongering, or whatever the Kamala Harris want to say, but that's fear-mongering. No, it's fucking not. This is reality right here. This is like 10 toes down in the state. So if you're wondering what's happening with Colorado, that's what's happening, all right? This ain't no fear-mongering. There are people being charged rent out in this apartment complex, bro. They called the FBI. They said they could do nothing about it. They called the state. Yeah, Colorado PD, all of them, dude. No, they can't do nothing about it. Oh, and they also called the marshals, from what I hear. Nothing they can do about it, apparently. Nothing you can do about immigrants taking over an apartment complex by force? What? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
It is a situation in Aurora involving Venezuelan migrants that's been brewing for months. With every verifiable fact, there has been some misinformation and rumors. Well, tonight, we have new information on what we've learned is happening inside an apartment complex. This video has been making the rounds online since yesterday. Shows armed men walking through a building, knocking on doors, and entering an apartment. A former resident and at city council member tells us these men are part of a dangerous Venezuelan gang, and their numbers have been growing steadily because of the crisis at the border. The apartment complex is at 12th and Dallas and Aurora. That's east of the border with Denver, and just a mile or so from the popular Stanley Marketplace. Tori Mason is your reporter in Aurora. Tori joins us now. You talked with a woman who lived there, watched all of this unfold, and she certainly said this was terrifying for her.
Yes, Karen, and even though she's moved, she's still terrified. It takes bravery to speak out on something like this, but she says it's worth it if it means action will be taken. There have been rumblings of new gang activity in Aurora all summer. Officials have skated around the topic, but now there's video and victims they can't deny.
It's really like being held hostage.
Cindy was a prisoner in her own home. She's lived in this building at 12th and Dallas for years. This summer, when crime got worse, Cindy got cameras. Doorbell video shows a group of armed men forcing their way into her neighbor's home. Another night, her camera outside captured 2 men approaching a vehicle, guns drawn. She's called 911 so often, they know her by name.
He said, ever considered leaving? If I could afford to leave, I wouldn't be there.
She says neighbors fall asleep to gunfire. Her car still damaged from an overnight shootout.
This is a bullet hole.
It was one of the few times Aurora police responded.
They will call me and say, I'm sorry, but we're not coming. We're not coming until it's a bad enough crime.
This week, her pleas for help were finally answered, not by the city, but by Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky.
I think that politics is being played here with people's lives.
While APD and the city denied gang activity, Jurinsky moved Cindy out of that apartment herself. For weeks, officers have told her their hands were tied.
What I am told is that police leadership put it out that no less than like 3 or 4 officers could respond to one of these complexes.
Wednesday, Aurora police said they're aware that components of TDA are operating in Aurora. In a statement, APD says it would be improper at this time for the city and APD to make any conclusory statements about specific incidents or provide details about law enforcement strategy and operations. Based on our initial investigative work, we believe reports of TDA influence in Aurora are isolated.
I now have other property owners, other apartment complexes calling and telling me the same kinds of things.
Food is the biggest commodity over there.
Cindy says she survived the ordeal by staying quiet, giving them food and bed bug spray. Every night, praying she'd hear sirens.
They left us there to die.
In her new home, far away, the peace she feels is fleeting. Because for so many others, she says there is no escape, no solution, and no sign that help will ever come.
My family lives in Aurora. My daughters live there. I talked them into moving to Aurora. If someone doesn't do something now, their apartments are next.
Now, Cindy says there needs to be more action and more help for people in her situation. Like she told me earlier, there's no program that says, hey, you've been run out by a gang. Let's step in and help you with the deposit. She's lucky to get the help that she did, Karen.
That's terrible. Just so terrible. Tori, what's next? What are the next steps?
Well, the city and the Aurora Police Department established a special task force to address concerns about any Venezuelan gang activity.
All right, more to come on this for sure. Tori, thank you. 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 Tori, thank you.
Stoppers. And really a lot of the debate has been, is this the fault of the apartment management company, or is this the work of Venezuelan gangs? New information this morning, Aurora Police teaming up with the CBI and the Colorado State Patrol to better address concerns about the violent Venezuelan gangs. Investigators believe some members are from Venezuela, gangs responsible for this jewelry store heist we brought to you. This happened in Denver earlier in summer. All three agencies now creating a task force which will allow them to maximize resources and share intelligence about the ongoing investigations. Mayor Mike Kaufman saying, and they've been talking about it for a while now, one of their initial goals is to engage and learn from the migrant community.
We're also aggressively, having a presence in these pockets where there's concentrations of Venezuelan migrants to be able to try to ourselves, or at least our law enforcement personnel at the local, state, and federal levels to identify who these bad actors are and get them off the street.
Kaufman also saying he can't share too much about what the task force is going to be doing. He didn't want to compromise the investigation. He believes allocating resources is necessary and wants people to know he and police are taking it seriously.
Aurora, Colorado. Mayor, thank you very much for coming on with us. It seems it's tough to even get some confirmation of the details of what is going on there. First off, can you confirm whether or not this gang has taken over these buildings there in Aurora?
So there are several buildings actually under the same ownership, out-of-state ownership, that have fallen to these Venezuelan gangs. I'm trying to walk it back and do the investigation as to how there's a concentration of Venezuelans in these three buildings. Somebody put them there, and somebody funded it. Whether it's federal government or not, we're trying to find out who these three buildings. Somebody put them there, and somebody funded it. Whether it's federal government or not, we're trying to find out who these gangs apparently are attracted to where there's a concentration of Venezuelan migrants. And so they've in fact have kind of pushed out the property management through intimidation and then collected the rents. We have now or have had it is ongoing operations with a task force of local law enforcement, state law enforcement partners, and federal law enforcement partners to root them out. And arrests have been made, but these operations are still ongoing.
With the arrests that have been made, are these confirmed gang-affiliated members?
This is an organized criminal effort, whether it's Tren de Aragua, that remains to be seen, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, if they're Venezuelan migrants and they're conducting crime in an organized manner, they're a problem.
So so you're able to confirm that this Venezuelan gang has indeed taken over at least some of the buildings. You're saying at least two of the three, and what I just heard from you is you don't know how they ended up there, and you even made a suggestion that they could have been sent there by federal officials. I heard you suggest. I mean, do you have any reason to believe that to be the case?
So here's the problem. I think we're a victim of a failed policy at the southern border, because what you have, Venezuela does not according to my law enforcement, Venezuela does not cooperate with the United States in sharing criminal histories. You had a third of the country leave. You've had these massive waves of migrants coming across the border that many of them crossed the border illegally, were arrested, asked for political asylum, were not adequately vetted, were released into the country. The city of Aurora, we did everything we could to quite frankly, keep them out of the city, because it's not our problem. This is a federal problem. This is a problem borne by the federal government. But what we're trying to find out, and what I believe occurred, was that federal agencies worked with some of our local nonprofits and put them there. Now, most of these people are very good people. But there's a criminal element that, from what I understand, what law enforcement is briefing me, that often follows them, intends to exploit them within their own migrant community. And so we believe that is happening now. Now, we're the 51st largest city in America. We're with over 400,000 in population. This is only several apartment complexes. Yeah. But nonetheless, I'm not going to surrender any part of this city to a criminal element.
With all due respect, it's no longer, just in the hands of the feds when you've got, we've heard reports that this gang has green-lighted its members to attack your local police. What are you doing about that, Mayor?
Well, we're aware of that in the Denver metropolitan area, that there are elements of Tren de Aragua here. And so, we're, in terms of how our police operate, the tactics, what they're doing to protect themselves, is our number one priority. Our number one priority. Our number one priority. Our number one priority. Our number one priority.
Councilwoman Jurenski, who has been amazing. My first conversation with her, she said, "Do you still live there?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I'm going to get you out of there."
Wow. So
she said, "I'm going to make it my work."
So you're singing her praises. In the meantime, the Office of Governor Jared Polis is saying she's making all of this up. Listen to what his spokesman said. According to police intelligence, this purported invasion, I guess, of these apartment buildings is largely a feature of Danielle Jurenski's imagination. What do you say to that?
You can't fake video, and Polis wouldn't last 5 minutes on that property. It's on that property. It's on that property. It's on that property. It's on that property.
Office of Governor Jared Polis is saying she's making all of this up. Listen to what his spokesman said. According to police intelligence, this purported invasion, I guess, of these apartment buildings is largely a feature of Danielle Jurenski's imagination. What do you say to that?
You can't fake video, and Polis wouldn't last 5 minutes on that property.
Wow. Here's what Danielle.
5 minutes.
Here's what Danielle said about it. Listen to this.
I absolutely did not make any of this up. I love that is how our governor has quickly rushed in to say that that's the actual problem here. But the actual problem here are his weak policies that have turned this state into a breeding ground for this gang activity.
Cindy, why do you think the governor's office has got its head stuck firmly in the sand over this issue?
They don't want to admit that they're part of the problem. It's the administration who we count on to make the rules for us, to make the guidelines that we go by. I call 911, no help comes for me. No help. There's no mass amounts of police that show up to make sure that we're defended. Nobody showed up to help me. I didn't have a bulletproof vest. I didn't have 5 officers showing up with me whenever there was a problem. We were on our own, and we were left to die.
Wow.
These people have no registration in this country.
Yeah, and we should point out that the scenes that you're seeing on the right-hand side of the screen there, those were taken from Cindy's Ring doorbell or video doorbell while she was inside her apartment. You can imagine what it was like living there. Cindy, God bless you. We're glad you got out.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful every day that I got out, that I got out, that I got out, that I got out.
police officers arrived to the scene here at this apartment complex just before 7 a.m. carrying out evictions, and now dozens of tenants who used to live here are now looking for a place to stay. You can see just the red and blue X that are on these apartment doors, and that's just a signal that this place has been, that they have already carried out the evictions, that this place has been vacated, and now the cleanup begins here. Now, we watched as code enforcement and police officers went door to door to make sure that each of the apartment was cleared out. Piles of trash, they're being cleared out in the parking lot. We showed you that a little bit earlier, but the city of Aurora, they're also paying for this trash to be picked up.
So right now it's just kind of a waiting game for a lot of these tenants. They tell us they're not really sure what's going on, but they're upset at how the situation is being handled. You can see there's a lot of activity going on, a lot of children. Police are just here in the area. They just got here not that long ago, but it's unclear how they'll be moving people out, how they'll be taking them to the hotels. A lot of activity going on here right now.
Immigration reform, immigration reform, immigration reform, immigration reform, immigration reform, immigration
Colorado today. Did you see that? Where Venezuelan gang members have taken over parts of the city. They've taken over apartment houses because these stupid people that we have leading our country are allowing these people, these criminals, to come into our country. And we're going to get them the hell out of here. And this is just the beginning. Wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what they're doing. And this is just the beginning. Wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what they're doing.
I'm just here to make you think. Slow down. Yeah.